So first, I want to say I was not ignoring whoever commented. I seen that there was 3 comments on here, and I wrote YouTube because I could not see the comments whatsoever. There was 3 comments on here, and I thought it was weird because literally I'm just reading from the book of Malachi
Behold,
in
the day
chapter 4, and I asked the question, about the creature that comes through with healing in his wings, because I felt like that was a mistranslation. Because as the Hebrew people, as Israelites, we don't sun worship. We have the Most High. So it was irritating to me that it was written that way, because it felt like somebody was taking liberties to translate it the way they wanted to, and it was mistranslated. And I'd asked, that if anyone had the right translation, comment, and they blocked me. I could not respond. I could not read them. And now the comments are completely gone. So I just want to say I'm not ignoring you. Maybe you can comment in this video section, but whoever it is that's monitoring my page for Google felt that your comments were they were unfit to be read by anyone else, and they were unfit for me to reply to. So if you have the right translation, again, or if you have an opinion on it, comment on this video when I post it. So they took the sound away.
The fleas are placed inside the jar and the lid is then sealed. They are left undisturbed for 3 days. Then, when the jar is opened, the fleas will not jump out. In fact, the fleas will never jump higher than the level set by the lid. Their behavior is now set for the rest of their lives. And when these fleas reproduce, their offspring will automatically follow their example.
Behind me is the temple of Apollo on the Rothschild estate. We see the sheep. They fleece the flock. They shear the sheep. They gather in the money. They take in all of the gold and all of the silver and all of the copper. And they leave us squat. These sheep are like so many of you who don't recognize that you're being sheared, that don't recognize what is before your very eyes. When you accept the intolerable, you wake up in the morning in a nation that is slave.
This is from Thomas Jefferson, because I thought about that when he talks about at the end the people being sheeple and sheep, right? For the what's the thing there? For the elites of the world. Listen to this.
I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies, Jefferson wrote. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around these banks will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered.
And that's what I think we're going through now. That's not hard to see. Most people don't know he said that, but I don't think that's hard to see. You see it right now. The homeless rate is astronomical, and it's only going higher. That even the candidates for the United States bankrupt corporation are saying, hey, what do we do about the homeless people? Let's build tent cities for them. Let's build camps for them. Not hey, let's find a way to put them into the empty homes that these banks hold on to, or anything like that. No, let's just build them, structures that are not fit to hold up against the climate change that they're producing. So, but I just thought it was interesting. I seen this about a week ago, the video about the a temple of Apollo on the Rothschild estate, and I kid you not, I probably laughed for a good 5 minutes, uncontrollably, just laughed. And it took me a while to record this because I didn't want the laughter to be insincere like it was in the beginning. In the beginning, I just laughed because all those years and times wasted watching stuff and listening to stuff, and then trying to read stuff about the the Rothschilds and who sits at the empty chair, the 13th chair, the empty chair at their banquets. And it was always Lucifer, 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 Lucifer. And Lex will put it right in front of all of our faces, like a stamp slapped on our foreheads. It was Apollo the whole time. And I felt so dumb, but I felt so happy that Lexwell drove Apollo into our heads, that we were able to, when I seen that, I understood it wasn't about Lucifer. We understand Lucifer is just the family name. It was Apollo. It was Apollo. And you think about it, I tried even looking up, was it the Rockefeller Square, Apollo at the Rockefeller Square, and they say it's Prometheus. But either way, it's the worship of Apollo. It's the bringing about of freeing Apollo. And I just got a huge laugh out of that because, oh man, what a waste of time following the breadcrumbs. But I'm glad I see it now, and it wouldn't have happened, I don't know if it would have happened. I just know it was brought about by Lex Will showing us this is Apollo. This is who they're worshiping. This is the big guy. The thing I want to do, I'm going to try to get Vince on the line sometime this week because I want to go over these, the American passport, how to fill out a passport, apply for a passport, fill it out, and the small instructions that go along with it, and fully understanding the passport, because I see it coming. I see it coming, World War III, and I got to give credit to Asir the Duke of Tears because he was the one that laid it out and showed us, hey, World War III, when it happens, there's going to be African Americans sent to Africa to fight the Africans. They're going to be drafted, men and women. And it's, it's not just going to be African Americans, but, Europeans or Caucasians. They're going to be drafted into the war, men and women. And it's really to get the children, the mothers and fathers away from the children. That's what it's really about. And that's not what he's saying. That's what I'm saying. It's really about getting the mothers and fathers away from the children. So the mothers and fathers die. Because one thing Asir said, no one's coming home from this war. There's no one coming home. They're going to make sure you die and come back over there. And it's so that your children will be left here to be raised by the state. And now these children will be raised in a way that they were groomed and manipulated to go along with the narrative. And there's no mother and father there to say, no, that's not right. No, don't go along with this. Let me protect my child from this. Orphan trains all over again. Orphan trains all over again. So I want to show you, because one of the things the passport does when you fill it out this way is it's going to show you that you're correcting a status in a way that you're saying, I am an American. I'm not a U.S. citizen. And you're making that clear to them. All right. So, but Vince is better as explaining this, and I really want him to explain it because he explained it to me twice now. And you understand, like, Vince is my kind of teacher, right? I can listen to things and I'll comprehend it in the moment, but then questions arise and they'll seem dumb, but it's how my mind works, where I have to rationalize it and break it down step by step to comprehend it. And he has the patience, to, even though he's heard me ask these questions maybe before in previous conversations, he'll have the patience to explain it to me where I don't feel dumb, but and answer these questions without like blowing up at me. Because that's what my father did, man. my father was like, you know, he was a licensed electrician, right? And his thing was, if I didn't get it right the first time, and even on the second time I didn't get it right, then he was just like, I had no use for you. And he would blow up and call me all kinds of names and stuff like that. And so I don't have a problem with like, I mean, I could take criticism because I grew up around that. Like, my father was a military man who served in the Army, or the Air Force, I'm sorry. And, you know, so criticism, calling me names doesn't bother me, but it's when I'm trying to learn. I need someone that's going to be like, hey, where's this? Let's figure out where your stumbling block is. Let's figure out how to get you past it. And that's what Vince does the best for me. So I'm hoping that I can get him on the line and we can do like a FaceTime recording and he can show you, you know, how to fill this thing out. Because one of the things I think I got stuck up on was when I was listening to the Moors speak on this process, and they were explaining, you know, that if you don't fill it out the right way, you become a stateless person. And I'm like, wait a minute, you've already explained in other videos that black is a stateless person to begin with, you know. And he's explaining, you know, in these Moors videos, they're explaining, oh, you become a stateless person, then you get held in detention until they figure out a country that will accept you. And it's like, wait a minute. I don't get that. How can that both be true? How can they say that they're going to do that, but yet you're already a stateless person living in North America, functioning inside the bankrupt United States from 1871. So it's just, you know, and Vincent broke it down piece by piece, slowly, and showed me how I was falling for the lie. So that's the next thing I want to do is go about doing that. I mean, he was explaining other ways too, you know, those that write a trust are foreign to the United States, you know, so that's a good one because I had heard that before in the past. He explained it to me in the past about, you know, writing my own trust, and I forgot all about it. So that's going to be my next one, I believe. Whenever I can get him on the line, we'll go over that because I think it's going to be useful and helpful, you know. So when they try to pull off the stunt, like bringing back the draft, it's a way of protecting yourself. So, I mean, because you see it already. I mean, if you don't look at Africa, look at Nigeria. They're saying, no, you're not taking our wealth from us. You're not sending it to Europe, and we're getting nothing for it. And France is upset because, like Lex will explain in just his previous video. Hold on. Lex will explain in this video. It's their way. It's the way of the Greeks, right? They don't like the land contract that Noah and the Most High made for where Japhet was supposed to be. So they're going to they got off their land, they took your land, and they're taking your resources. And that's what they're doing to Africa, right? Stealing the resources. Like, you got to ask yourself, how does France function economically? What good does their economy produce? And it's not that. It's that they have their teeth sunk in so many nations in Africa that financially support them. I mean, they're the biggest ones. You want to talk about somebody on child support, right? Right? They get the biggest child support check ever. Welfare check, whatever you want to call it, right? Welfare check ever. Because of all the resources they're taking from the people of Africa, and they're cutting the people of Africa out on, you know, their own minerals. So, and you got to think about it. Henry Kissinger said they're in a war right now. The elites are in a war right now, and the war is to make sure that they control the resources of third world countries, including the so-called United States. They have to control those resources. So, like when you see that, sorry, when you realize that the United States is pumping all this gas out of the ground and they're sending it to Europe, but yet they're buying gas from Saudi Arabia to sell to you, the American or the United States consumer, and it's like, wait a minute, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why are you selling me gas from another nation when there's plenty of gas here that you're pumping out of the ground? They're controlling the resource. Like, I used to go to this chapel in South Carolina, in Anderson, South Carolina, and the state senator at the time, Kevin Bryant, he was running for re-election. They pushed aside their Sunday service of whichever one of the brethren was supposed to speak, and they had him speak. Basically just him campaigning right there locally. And the guy was explaining, oh, South Carolina is sitting on tons of gas, right? Natural gas that they could drill for. But they have a deal with the Cherokee Nation that they're not going to drill for gas. Not until Texas runs out of gas. So when Texas runs out of gas, their rationale is that, oh, then we'll begin the drilling here, and that's going to bring all the business and all the work to South Carolina. So they're monopolizing it, the resource, and it's all a plan. I'll see if I can find it. It's hard to find for me, the video where Henry Kissinger is giving a speech and he talks about controlling the resources of third world nations. And you see it. I mean, they're already talking about what's the guy? Jimmy Dore did a video where one of the U.S. generals is talking about the resources in South America are so beautiful, and we need to start allying ourselves with South America to protect their resources before China gets in there and takes all of them. And it's like, that was the plot from RoboCop, the TV series, is that there was eventually a war in South America for what? Their resources. And it's like, it's on the doorstep. And so I want to do a video on the passport, so just to add it, an active layer of doing something to help correct the status. One, being active in that, and two, protecting yourself and your children from what I think is going to be the separation. Kind of like what Rome did to the Israelites, where they kicked them out of the city, all the mothers and fathers out of the city, and told them, if you come back, we'll kill you. And they kept all their children, knowing that the mothers and fathers would come back for their children, because they wanted them to be raised in that kind of environment, that kind of thing. So, anyways,